Okay, so we're going to start going through the next part of the series, and we're going to do this a little bit differently. Today we have Robin Brendel. Say hello, Robin.
Hi.
So this is going to be a little bit more informal in a way, but Robin had a few really good questions going through the series so far, and just think it's better to capture that. So we might stop for just conversation about something, or to go more in detail or something, or just to answer a question. So we'll see how that works and see, if that adds anything
See
to
what
this.
happens.
Yeah. And I'm on a new computer here too, so maybe that will help some of the audio issues I've been having. But so let's get into it. I already went ahead and did the Git Clone, so I have the repository for ChessLab, right? So we got that here, and today I guess we're going to be going. We were on part.
We were on 3.
Did we work from 3 to 4? So now we're going to be on 4, right? Working to 5.
Yes.
Okay. So we're on 4, and then by the end we're going to be at 5, and we're going to have this new piece component. Which if you looked ahead at all, then
I did.
okay, good.
So I have
No
idea.
spoilers, right?
No.
So let's start with Git branch, and it tells us we're on the master, and it's just not listing the remotes. I think if we do -R there's a way to get it to list remotes. You don't happen to know that, do you? Is it lowercase r?
I do.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
So if we want 4, right? So we want to do.
I think so, but I'm not.
Git checkout. It looks like I've never done it this way, but we could type in origin part 4. You are in a detached head state. That's pretty weird. I don't know why I'm in a detached head state.
Well, how did you you normally didn't put origin. Wouldn't it just Git checkout part 4?
Yeah, I
So
guess
that
it's probably ticked about that, huh? Git checkout master. Git branch. Okay, so I think it tried to name a new branch. So we don't want to do that.
Yeah. No.
Let's do Git checkout part 4. There we go. Switch to new branch.
Make it too complicated.
So one of the ways we can tell is there's not going to be in the master we had the component directory already, because the master is sort of the end state. So now we're on part 4. We don't have the component, so we should be good there. We should be able to do npm start, and then we'll work towards part 5. So I think in the last video, you're gonna have to remind me, is that the one where we added the icon thing and made them all beers?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we want to do is we want to do that again. I don't think that's actually in that's actually in my package list yet. We can look here. Here we go. So yeah, we haven't installed FA icons or whatever, React icons. So kind of before we even get started with the React app here, we probably want to do npm install React icons.
Okay.
And I know this is one of the more kind of mystifying parts of the magic of this for you.
Yeah.
npm.js. I don't know why Netlify comes up first. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You visited this page 2 times. Yeah. That seems like a little judgmental. Okay. This is what we want. We want FA beer, right? That's what we did last time. Mm-hmm. So in order to be able to do import React icons FA, all we have to do is this. Let's try it. Mm-hmm. Copy and paste. So see that save thing? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but save, it actually makes an entry in your list of dependencies. So if I was to hand this code to you and you do an npm install, it goes through the list and says, oh, you need React icons. I'll go get that from npm. Mm-hmm. And it'll do this same install step.
Okay.
That way I don't need to give you the entire thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Oh, whoa. A lot of supposed vulnerabilities in there.
That is a lot.
I'm not too worried about that.
Okay.
It's not the end of the world. Maybe Microsoft will fix that. Microsoft just bought NPM.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not exactly the happiest moment of my life. Microsoft's kind of the enemy. But we'll use their Visual Studio Code. Microsoft owns GitHub, NPM, and Visual Studio Code, the holy trinity of JavaScript programming. So anyway, we've got that now. If we look under node modules, there's a lot of them. No. React icons should be in there. There we go. So it pulled down all of this code.
Okay.
And it'll automatically use it if we import the way they did here. Mm-hmm. Right? Now in our case, we don't really want to do that. Let me npm start this so we can write some code here.
Okay.
We don't necessarily want to do this the same way we did last time. So last time, I think I just threw it in there and made it so that it displayed beer or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We want to get to the next level here, and the next trick is going to be. Let me go ahead and bring up our code. Open folder. We'll go into the chess lab and say okay. So we've got our app.js. Mm-hmm. Can I make this bigger? Oh yeah, there we go. It's way better. We've got our little React guy running, mm-hmm. and we've got our browser open. And now we can import FA beer, right?
Okay.
But we sort of don't want to just do that here. And here's where we're rendering a square. Mm-hmm. Right? Props call this guy right here. We can actually, it's a little hard to read. One of the things, I don't know if you noticed this, but sometimes people sort of do this indentation thing.
Yeah, makes it easier to see.
You like it?
When you have a line that goes
forever,
it's harder to know where things are and what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, you know, for one like this, it's really simple what's in there. Mm-hmm. You know, we kind of have this a little bit. We have this cell concept, and then down here we're saying, you know, make a cell. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of nice whenever there's something just subtle that you want to pull out a little bit, and it's not a big thing. It doesn't have a lot of logic to it. Mm-hmm. But with this thing where we're going to be sort of displaying a particular piece, it's going to be a little more. We want to be able to swap in different things more easily. We don't want to depend right here on React icons, because we might want to pick other icons in the future. Mm-hmm. Or we might want to pick something that animates or something. Mm-hmm. So in order to give us a little more flexibility and encapsulate that, what we'll do is we'll create a new folder. And this is really typical in React to create this sort of components folder. Mm-hmm. Components. Right? I don't know why it says that. That's dumb. And we'll do a new file, and we'll call this piece.js.
Okay.
Should we split it? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. You ever do that?
I haven't. No.
That can be nice if you're going kind of back and forth, you know, especially when you got flow like this. So what we want to do is we want to make a component over here, just like we made a cell. And then we're going to use that component here instead of just displaying the text, you know.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to cheat. Don't tell anybody I do this, but I'm going to open the code in another window and not tell anybody. And that way I've got it sort of as a reference. So I don't, we don't want to waste all our time, you know.
No.
Okay. So we know how to use this. What we can do is we can probably just copy this whole thing and paste it. But
easy enough.
Instead of question, I think we want to say piece, right? Piece. There we go. And then
you're trying to create the chess piece.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then we can get rid of this text, you know. There we go. So we got our piece. We probably need to import this. I don't know why that's not important in the example. It might be a React thing. Let's see if it works. So in order to make this work, all we do is now here, instead of saying that, we do piece. Oops. I'm hoist on my own petard there. There we go. And so in order to get piece, we have to import it. Import piece from components/piece. I don't know if you've kind of clued into this yet, but when you use this // notation, it's sort of like your code. And when you're just using a name like this, it's from the node modules directory.
Oh, okay.
And then
No, I didn't know that.
this file is called piece.js, but you can actually do that. I think that'll work. But most people just leave it off.
Okay. Because it just knows where to
Yeah,
find
it says, oh, there's a piece.js there. I'm going to go
Okay.
ahead and load up that object and be good to go. So I think that'll work. I think we'll get beers, which is good. We might have to reload. I wonder if I'm in the right directory. Oop. Something bombed out. Invalid type element type is invalid. Expected a string for built-in components. Boy, that's a nasty looking one, huh?
Just a little bit.
You
Is
likely...
that-
Oh, this is what I love about React. Look at this.
You likely forgot.
This, yes. Yes, I did. I'm sure. Like, that's always...
Is that what you thought we needed to import?
Probably,
Okay.
yeah. You probably forgot to export your component from the file it's defined in. Okay. We forgot to export our component from the file it's defined in. Here's our component. We need to export default. Ding. And look, that's what we did here too. So
Right.
I love React for that. That is when I knew.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you just screwed
It's
that
so
up.
kind.
It is. All right, we'll try that again. React is not defined. Ah, see? There we go. I was right. We got to copy this too. So sure enough, you know, the instructions from the NPM itself didn't work, but that may be because there's like new versions of React or they're just trying to be succinct. I'm not really sure. That's fine. Aha, look at that.
Yay. That's pretty cool.
All right. So we don't necessarily just want to display beer, right? And this is where it gets into like...
so that automatically put that in every cell.
Yeah.
Because of where we put it in the app.
Yeah. So here we're iterating through those the big array of arrays. Each row has a list of columns. And each time we get in there, we say, well, stick all that in the cell thing. And the cell thing is just sort of like, you could think of it as just sort of a little quick side. We're going to say, this is a cell, you know. And normally you would only want to do this kind of thing if you were going to have it in more than one place down here. Like if you later on had cell down here and you were sort of repeating yourself and you just had a really simple thing and you wanted to do the styling always the same and control the fact that it was always the same, then, you know, this is really simple. It's kind of self-contained. And that way, any changes that I make to this affect every one of these cells.
Right. So when you change props.column to piece, that changed that whole...
Yeah. Right.
So that it put that piece in every cell instead of just your black and white things. Okay.
Yeah. You can think of it almost like... it's almost like it created one of these for each time through this loop.
Right. Okay.
And then it said, put that stuff in there and put that stuff in there. And we said, oh, okay, well, we need a row num and a col num. And okay. It's sort of like a crazy big function. And it always gets props. If we want to do stuff like, you know, in this thing, we've got all this state. As soon as you are messing with state and stuff, you probably don't want to just be in one of these little one-offs.
Right.
You want to have like a whole file. So that's where we'll work a little bit. Let me split screen us again.
Okay.
So now that we've got a whole file, we can do stuff. We can have state, or we can, you know, this way, if let's say we do all this and we get all these icons for all these pieces, there may be a point at which we decide, you know what, let's not use these icons anymore. We could just make a different piece and keep this code around. And instead we could have something like, we could have 3D pieces or something, or special piece, or it could be a piece that you sort of let the user pick. But anyway, it gives you a little separation. Now we're not, you don't necessarily want to have big include importations into something that's just like at the high level of your program, because then it makes it harder to change things out. If we have FA Queen here, then we would have to make changes in this file whenever we wanted to use a different library or something. But now that we kind of go off into this piece, all we really need to do is do so I think we want to call it the code, and I'm looking at my cheat sheet right now, but yeah, I think we want to call it a code. Equals, and we'll do props.call. So now in our render function, we can start to put together like how to display it. So we can do let color equal this dot props dot code, and it's geez, that was crazy. Sometimes I'm too used to Vim. Okay. So the first thing is going to be the color, so B or W. And we can actually we can color our beers first, I think. Okay. But let's look up at our board and see what it looks like. Okay, so we're either going to have BR or BP or dash or WP. So the first thing we can do is we can say if if color equals, we got to watch out for that dash case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could just return nothing. So we could do return. And you always have to return something. I found if you return null, it gets mad, I think. So I like to do just like a span. Mm-hmm. It's like an HTML tag that sort of means nothing.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So let's see how that looks. Property 0 of undefined. Oh, I didn't save this one probably. Yeah, so we're not getting code yet. So we need to do save here. Is that working? Yay!
Yay! So now you're back at what we started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad, right?
No.
Okay. So, I think the first thing we want to do is actually make them a color depending on whether they're B or W, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to copy and paste that code in.
Okay.
Copy. You don't need to see me type out all that code. So if we returned, then we're done. Otherwise, we're going to keep going and we're going to try and return something else.
Okay. Now it's picking up, so that says the B. Is that picking it up where it's in the app.js, where it's all laid out at the top? Where is it picking up that exactly?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
So a piece is gonna, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So by getting the 0th item of the code, we're getting B.
Gotcha. Okay.
And otherwise it's gonna be white,
Right.
which it is white right now.
Right.
So we should be okay there.
So we shouldn't have to change. Yeah. Okay.
And I think in order to make this work, all we really have to do is do like the style equals style. Okay, cool. Did that work? Oh yeah, look. Kind of bad contrast, but we'll fix that.
Well, yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, all we have to really do is fix it so that the layout is displayed correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So now instead of beer, what we really need to do is pick depending on what our piece is. So what we really need is to capture the fact that we've got let piece equals, and it's the other half of the code.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's got the color is the first letter, the second letter, this dot props dot code, we can just get the 1 index. And now we can say something like if piece triple equals pawn, right? Then we want to use pawn. So let's add it up here. We have to, I don't know why, but for some reason you got to import each one specifically. FA pawn, chess pawn,
Yeah.
There we go. And then we can do the same shenanigans we did up here where we returned it specifically, just by copying and pasting our beer in for pawn. And then we just have to do chess pawn. There we go. Will this work? Oh, look, it worked.
Wow. Okay.
Sweet, right? And now we just really probably need to do them all.
So you have to list each pawn, queen, king, rook, all of those.
Yeah, I won't make you watch me type all that, so I'll paste it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
We've got knight, rook, bishop, and each one just does a short circuit where it returns. And we can take out our beer now because that's not even reachable.
Right.
And in order to make this work, we really need all those imports. which I'll also copy off screen.
Okay.
There we go. One of the benefits of having done it already. There we go. Okay. That kind of follow that.
Yep.
So we got question, pawn, rook, king, queen, knight, and bishop.
What's the question?
It's just if there's some kind of... I mean, technically, we know that we're never... Oops. We're never going to get past here.
Okay.
Because we know the limit, right? Mm-hmm. It's sort of limited.
Right.
But it's one of those weird things in programming. Sometimes people put like little error messages here, and they'll make it blow up. And it's sort of two philosophies. You can either make your code blow up and say, this should never happen. Or you could just say like a log message that says, this should never happen. Okay. I mean, it's a little bit lazy also that I if statemented this. Have we talked about switch statements yet?
I don't remember if we did or if I did it through one of those.
You've seen them.
I think I've seen it, yes.
So with a switch statement, you'd go, it sort of jumps from one case to whichever one matches. With this one, it's going to check, oh, is it P? No. Is it N? No. Is it R? No. Is it B? No. Is it Q? But, you know, like, we've kind of got processors that can handle 1 billion instructions in a second, so it's not that big a deal. If this was something that was happening a lot, I mean, we've only got 64 pieces on the board.
Right.
And most of them are going to finish in this first couple of statements. Sometimes people get way carried away with optimization, and it's kind of a waste of time. It looks like our code formatting sucks. Do you remember how to fix it?
Right click.
Oh, I got to right click. Do I just hit format?
Format document.
Hey, look how nice that is.
Yep.
So
it just kind of lines everything up.
Look at that.
Awesome.
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I think we're about ready to call this lunch. Let me make sure. It's been a while since I wrote some of this code, honestly. Did I add the coloring in at step 5? I don't think I did. Okay. So yeah, in the next video, I think it's just mostly about kind of adding some more formatting.
Format to that.
So, because like the black.
Make them a little bigger and.
Yeah,
be able
I mean.
to see the black more.
Yeah, it sort of sucks because the contrast is so bad. But we've got like real pieces on a board now, and we can move them around, which is pretty cool. It's not limited, right?
Right.
The king can attack.
Right.
Checkmate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that at least gets us to this next part where we've got these components. So at this point, the other thing I wanted to show a little bit in this is sort of how React works. And we were just talking about this before. If you were going to have this board stored in a database, then you might have some function up here. React provides you the ability to have this special function componented mount. And what you do with that is you program in a fetch call to talk to a backend database. And that fetch call says, you know, /chess/ username something maybe. And then when it gets that game back from whatever database, then if you do a set state call, then it'll automatically rearrange it'll re-render this once you do set state. So we've talked about set state before once we had moved a piece, but you can also set state when you get data from your backend.
So it saves a game.
Yeah, so you could save a game to the backend, and then when your component loads, like you've just like refreshed the page or been redirected to the page or whatever, you know, opened your browser and typed chesslab.whatever, and you hit enter. Once React is sort of ready to rock, it'll do this, and then after you do fetch, you do this dot set state, and you tell it, you know, rows equals data I got from the back end.
Right.
And then bam, you're
And then you're back where
you're back to
where
where
you
you started.
saved it.
And so you can do this with any component too. You could have a subcomponent like the piece could try and get, whatever the preferences for the user, or you probably wouldn't want to do that with pieces because you're like sort of displaying dozens of them, and each one would talk to the database.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have, a part of your website that's loading, your user profile. And a part that's loading, your settings, and a part that's loading stuff you've got, or chess games, or different things. So we're probably not going to get too deep into that, but I wanted to show you. At this point, you're at a point with React where you're a little dangerous, and you could start really programming a real thing that talks to a database and stores things. And we're not going to get too deep into some of those things in these videos, because this is focused on React, but that's how you would talk to a database.
Okay.
What do you think?
Clear as mud.
Great.
No, I mean, I do follow, like, being able to stop and ask questions, so.
Think that was helpful?
It was helpful.
Well, the nice thing now is this is captured.
Right.
So you could follow along with it again on your
Right, and so when I'm
Linux
working on
machine.
it at home by myself, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
Hopefully.
yeah, no, I mean, I think these have been good, so.
Great.
I'm following a little better, I guess, is the word.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to get some lunch, and we're going to hope that this video
Hopefully it worked.
worked. See you on the other side.